Welcome to Dining Delights. Today's special menu of a restaurant quality meal you can cook at home is going to be one that is very unique. I have a very good friend, Chef Nita Patel. She is an Indian chef, and I was never really into cooking Indian. I liked eating Indian food, but it was not one of my specialties, and she's given me a lot of recipes and really helped me along my way. Today we are making lamb Rogan Josh, and we're going to do a cashew saffron rice. We're going to start with the lamb Rogan Josh, and the first thing obviously we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about lamb. This is some fresh lamb. This is lamb leg meat that's cut up into about 1-inch cubes that's going to stew very nicely in our lamb Rogan Josh. Rogan Josh loosely means meat curry, so this is going to be a version of curry. Curry is traditionally any type of an Indian stew. This is actually originally from Kashmir, India, so I'll give you a little bit of history there. Some of the things we're going to use today, we have bay leaf, cinnamon, we have some peppercorns and clove. We also have some cardamom pods that we're going to put inside. Some traditional onions. We have coriander, which is essentially cilantro that's gone to seed. We ground the seeds up. We have cumin that's been ground. Turmeric. We have some cayenne or Kashmir. This is actually Kashmir. We have paprika, tomato paste, garlic, ginger, and a little bit of water. So a lot of different flavors going on in this, but the first thing we need to do is start to brown our lamb. We're going to go in with some oil, and this is canola oil. You can see that pan is screaming hot now, and we want to brown this lamb just like this. You can hear that sizzle. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about right there. At this point, we're also going to add some salt and some pepper. And we're going to get this lamb all browned in the pan. And then we'll take it right out of the bowl. Now, while our lamb is browning, we need to make a paste with some of our other ingredients. Since we want this curry to have a nice velvety sauce, what we're going to do is get our blender today, and we're going to actually add some water. This is just a couple cups of water. This will be the liquid base that will actually kind of let everything cook nicely. I'm going to add our garlic, and look at how much ginger is going in here, a ton of ginger. And we are just going to blend this right up and make a quick paste with it. Okay, you can see it's kind of a thin paste, but everything is all blended up, kind of like a garlic and ginger smoothie. And we'll double check and stir our lamb really quickly. It's almost ready to take out of the pan. We'll just give it one more second. Looks like we can start taking our lamb out. It's nice and brown. Got some good crust on some of it, but we just want to make sure it's nice and browned all the way around. Check like this. Now, we have all that lamb fond and some fat in the bottom of the pan. We are going to actually put in onions right away, just to start taking that and picking that right off the bottom of the pan and absorbing all of that lamb flavor. When you're doing Indian food, it's all about layering flavor over flavor. So we're going to get these onions right in here, like this. Okay, now as they're soaking up that flavor, I'm going to go ahead and add the dry spices, at least the big ones, a cinnamon stick, peppercorns, bay leaf, cloves, and the whole cardamom pods right to the center of the pan. And I want those to just sit in that by themselves. I pushed the onions off to the side. They're going to just start heating up and releasing some of their oils. We're just going to leave those for a second. And then we'll start stirring them in, and we're going to cook them just until those onions start to go too. And all we're doing now is getting the onions nice and cooked and starting to release the flavor from all of these spices. Oh, now that those onions are nice and brown, in fact, the bay leaves are nice and crispy, simmering in that nice lamb fat and some of that oil we put in, we're going to go right in with our garlic, ginger, and water paste, and we're going to kind of cool it down just a touch, just like that. Stir it in. This will help deglaze the rest of the pan. We want to get that deglaze, want to get all that fond up, all that flavor. Now, we're going to go right back in with our lamb and all of the juice. If any juice settles in the bottom of the bowl, that is flavor. We want to add that right back in. It is going to cook for quite a while. Then we're going to go in with our coriander. That's our cilantro that's gone to seed. It has a little bit different flavor, but it is very fresh. Cumin, very kind of a Mexican spice, even though we're in India. Turmeric and paprika. Now, Kashmiri chili is kind of warm, so it's similar to cayenne, but not quite as hot. I like spice, so I'm going to go about like that. If you just don't like it super hot, a pinch or two is just perfect. And then we're going to stir, and you're going to see this beautiful color change in our sauce. And it will go to almost a reddish brown color. And it looks beautiful. Now, the last thing we need to put in is we're going to add kind of a tomato base, so some tomato paste. We're going to stir that in, give it a little bit more red, and that's going to add to that velvety sauce. And we're going to let this cook down for about 45 minutes or so, and we will get back and come right back to it as soon as it thickens up and braises that lamb. For something as bold as the lamb Rogan Josh, we want to actually put a bold rice to go with it. Now, it's kind of interesting that, we're going to go from one strong flavor to pair it with another strong flavor, but this only looks strong. This actually has a very, very light flavor. So this rice pilaf we're going to make is cashew saffron. First thing we're going to do is we are going to talk a little bit about saffron. Saffron is from the crocus flower. From the filaments inside the crocus flower. It takes 75,000 crocus flowers to make a pound of saffron, so it is more expensive than gold traditionally. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to actually add it to the water that's going to go into our rice right now, and just let it sit on the top of that for a minute while we're toasting our rice, because we want that flavor to come out, and you can actually start to see the color changing. One thing that's nice about saffron is it is a bit sweet to start with, but it has a bitter finish, so it kind of pairs well with everything, and it kind of balances a lot of food and balances the dish. Now, for the rest of our rice, what we are going to do is we are going to get our pan nice and warm, and we are going to saute our onions to start with, and we're just going to get them nice and starting to get some color on them, and then we are going to toast our rice in the oil as well. Now, when you peel off something, rice pilaf, as most people know, is a dish. You go to a restaurant or you make rice pilaf. Pilafing is actually the process of cooking that rice in fat before you add the liquid to it. It helps it get nice and airy so it doesn't stick together, and it makes it so it clumps less and it's much lighter. Now, we're also going to go in with our cashews, and we have some golden raisins. But to balance the flavor with the Rogan Josh, I'm going to put some turmeric for color, give it a little bit of a yellow to pair nicely with the saffron, some cinnamon, and we're also going to add just a touch of clove, and then some more of these nice cardamom pods. Now, for these cardamom pods, what we're going to do for the rice is we're actually going to set them down on a cutting board, and you can either use your knife like this and pop them, kind of like garlic, or I also like to use a bowl, and I like to just push like this and get them open. We don't need to take anything out, but we want to get them open, and I'll go ahead and open and kind of show you one right here. You can see the little cardamom seeds that come out. These seeds are very, very flavorful. They have a smell, kind of a sweet note, and it reminds me of, it's almost like springtime. So anytime I put cardamom pods in something, and fresh cardamom kind of adds that springtime flavor. Now I'm going to go ahead and just add the whole pod and all, because those will also add flavor. So we'll get those ready. Now our pan's hot. We're going to go in right now with our oil. You can see that oil's nice and shimmery, and our onions. And again, pinch of salt to help reduce those onions and cook those down. We're going to stir. And we're going to brown these right before we add the rice. All right, with our onions getting nice and brown on the edges now, it's time to start adding our rice, and we're just going to lay this all the way across the bottom of the pan. Because like I said, that pilafing process, we want it to start absorbing that oil before we even start stirring. It does start to cook a little bit too. And now we can start the stirring process, and you will see it's starting to absorb all of that goodness. The rice will change color a little bit, and it will start going to a more kind of semi-translucent from the dark opaque color that it is. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for it to start to change color. Toast just a little bit. When it starts to smell nutty, this has a lot of heat on it, so when it starts to have a nice nutty smell, you don't want to go over because you don't want to burn the rice, but you want that nice smell. I'm trying to, I can start to smell that nutty, delicious smell. Okay, so now we're going to go in with some of our spices. We're going to add our cinnamon stick and our cloves, all that cardamom pod that we popped open. Okay, we're going to stir those in. And again, we're going to put heat on them before we add the liquid a little bit. We want to get that flavor and that oil to start coming out of all those spices. The more oil we extract, the better flavor we get. It also mellows the flavor a little bit. So sometimes cinnamon can have a sharp bite to it. If you actually simmer it a little bit in some oil, start to release those oils, gives it a chance to disperse, and it does mellow. So it actually gives a nice, smooth, subtle flavor versus strong. We're going to go in with our turmeric now and stir. It's going to change the rice color just a touch. Raisins and cashews. Okay. Now, if you remember, we salted those onions, but we don't have any salt in our rice yet. So we're going to go with about 1.5 teaspoons. That's 1.5 cups of rice. I believe a teaspoon per cup of rice. So there we go. That should be just about 1.5 teaspoons total. I'm going to stir that in. Now we're going to go in with that beautiful saffron liquid, and look how colorful that got. Started to pull all that color out. Going to give us a little hiss like that. Going to scrape anything that we can get out of the bottle, and we're going to bring it up to a boil. And then this is the best part. We bring to boil, reduce to simmer. So what we want to do is get the rice to come up to the boil. Then we're going to just simply reduce it to a simmer, put the lid on, and we're going to check it in 17 minutes, fluff it a little bit, let it sit for 5 more, and it'll be ready to serve with our Rogan Josh. Okay, our timer went off on our rice about 5 minutes ago, and I'm letting it sit to just finish cooking and finish absorbing off the heat a little bit. But the last little bit we need to do for our Rogan Josh is we're going to add some yogurt. This is thick yogurt to add a little bit of dairy. We're going to stir that in. It's going to go right into that nice sauce. You can see how thick this sauce thickened right up. Got nice and thick and delicious. It really smells super good. We're also going to add a little bit of garam masala. Garam masala is a spice mixture, a spice blend. Traditionally in India, each family has their own blend of spices, so this determines the heat level, and it's different mixtures of different things. Cumin could have cumin, cardamom, and then lots of cayenne or other peppers in it as well. And we're going to let that simmer just for 1 second, just to kind of get the dryness out of the spice. But what we're going to do is start plating, and to start plating, I'm going to open up my rice and we're going to fluff it with a fork, and you can see how beautiful that looks. It is absolutely amazing. Now, I believe pretty food tastes good, so what we're going to do is we are going to plate our rice in the center of our bowl in a mold. Now, if you get a few little seeds from the spices. That's perfectly okay. In fact, that's lucky. If you get a bite like that that has some of those herbs and spices in it, that's nice, and you want to make sure and show everybody. Just take it right out and put it off to the side of your plate. You don't need to worry about eating it. And I'm just going to get a nice little mold here. And I'm not trying to compress this rice. You'll notice I'm not pressing it into the mold. I'm just setting it right there. Now, what we're going to do is just push it right to the center. We're going to grab our pan of curry, bring it a little bit closer. Another quick stir. And we are going to take the curry and we're going to go around the outside of the edge of the rice. Like so. Okay. We're going to grab our towel, clean our edge. Going to take some cashews. These are toasted cashews, toasted right around, and garnish the curry part. Take some nice cilantro. And we want these beautiful leaves, big full leaves, to go right on top of our rice. Just like this. And then the trick, we're going to lift and put that rice right in the middle, just like that. It's still going to remain nice and soft like a pilaf. And there we have lamb Rogan Josh with saffron cashew rice. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you saw how easy it is to cook this restaurant quality Indian dish at home, lamb Rogan Josh with the cashew saffron rice. The recipe's available at cookwithchefchris.com. And thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Happy cooking.